Hey guys, how's it going? It's Shayna here with Repurpose House for another episode of Content Karate. I have the lead zombie over at Ad Zombies here with me. He is awesome. He's a friend of mine. I'm so pumped that he's coming on to chat about his crazy awesome content game. Ken, say hello, tell people a little bit about who you are, and let's get in it.
Shayna, first of all, in this crazy time we're living in, you see zombies back there. Rob has got his face mask on. We should be practicing safe content.
Here we go.
There
Safe
we go.
Content.
Safe
We're
content
responsible here
always.
at Repurpose.
That's right. There we go. Although you look like you're going to rob a bank with that thing.
All black.
I at least look like I'm going to perform surgery on somebody. So tell you a little bit about myself. Born and raised in New York City, was a nerd as a kid, started doing ads in my bedroom while other kids were playing out on the beach and out front and playing stickball. Not me. I was nerding out, creating radio ads as a kid, and I knew from a very early age that was my path. Luke Skywalker knew he was going to be a Jedi. I knew I was going to be a radio guy. And so I started writing ads, and that's where my career went, and spent a gazillion years in radio and broadcasting. Got to work with some amazing brands, became a head of creative for a big company, then moved on and built my own businesses. And here we are having a conversation today about writing.
Here we are, right?
How is that for short and sweet, which is not typical?
Yeah, and what's amazing is, guys, his rap sheet is nuts. So it's like to cram it all in that much time. Like, if you guys get a chance to chat or hit up Ken, go to his LinkedIn and talk to him. He's got like stories for days.
I do. Good, bad, and indifferent.
For sure. Well, don't we all, right?
Yes.
So let's talk about Ad Zombies specifically. So first of all,
okay.
What is Ad Zombies? And then we're going to dive into your content.
Okay.
Why it helps you guys.
Ad Zombies is an at-scale copywriting service. We write words that sell anything for businesses anywhere. And when I say that, the answer is yes. Can we write ads? Absolutely. Can we write email sequences? Yes. Do we write landing pages, web copy? Anything that needs words for business, which is everything, we can write. We don't do package design. We don't run the ads. We're not a marketing firm. And that's it. That's what we do.
I love it. It's so simple and it works, which is awesome. Cool. Okay. So you are a content king. I find it,
some people call me a content whore, but that's okay. I'll take that.
We'll lean to content whore. That's fine. You have been trained by some of the greats, the ultimate content king, Gary Vee. You've had multiple chats with him about your strategy, which I think is pretty rad. So you have a couple of different strategies. You've got Ad Zombies content, and then you as a personal brand, like
Correct.
Crush. So let's talk about because a lot of people are like, do I just do content for my brand? Is doing the personal brand too much? Like I get a lot of people, even I've had the question about how much to do of each. And I want to kind of find out how you got to like where you're at now. And I feel like you're in a flow at this point. Did you struggle with that? Like, how did you get to this?
I did struggle with it because, one of the things that Gary Vee preaches is document, don't create. And oftentimes I find myself, or early on found myself questioning, yeah, but do people really want to see this crap? Like, am I documenting stuff that no one cares about? But what I started to realize, and Shayna, this is so important because every business owner, every marketer, anybody who puts energy into the promotion of their business needs to know this. You are somewhere in your business journey that someone else wishes to be. And so sharing your steps of the journey, sharing your successes, your failures, the happy, the sad, this is how we communicate as human beings and have done so for centuries. Like back in the days of cavemen writing on the walls to say there was a scary freaking monster outside the cave, right? The saber-toothed tiger. But it's the same thing. So storytelling is what I do best. And whether it's written word or me sharing the content of my life, the business, the journey, the ugly stuff, like when I got hated on so much that it almost destroyed my business because of an ad with ice cream scoops, so all of those little moments have such value to someone else, because they can learn very quickly by your documenting, don't do that, or do that, right? And so that's the value there. So at first I questioned always, like, is this valuable? But over time, as I saw the momentum and I saw the energy that those posts were getting, I'm like, no, this is the right stuff. Yeah. And I don't do it for the likes and the comments and the shares. It's the comments of, oh my God, this helped me so much, or I'm exactly where you were when I saw this, and thank you for sharing this. Like, those things matter to me, because I remember just drowning as this company was getting underway and having just these panic attacks. Like, I couldn't sleep. I'd wake up like, because I was so panicked, and things were out of control. And I felt like I had made the biggest mistake, and sharing those things, sharing those moments is cathartic. And it also helps somebody else who might be going through that same exact thing in that moment.
Sure. And I think that there's, what's tough about those is that it's scary to feel like you want to share and be vulnerable and honest about things like that. Because, I struggled with posting a couple of things about stuff that was going on in my business personally, but like, ultimately it makes you a human,
It does. It does. And you have to realize, though, that the state of the world we're living in today, people use social as a tool to not only grow their business, but to vent and to have opinions. And sometimes you're going to put something out there that somebody may not like. And you have to decide to pick your battles, right? Are you going to get into a heated debate about this, or are you going to stop? And sometimes that bites you in the butt. It bit me in the butt a couple of times. But you learn over time, okay, I can't share this stuff. And so you become a little guarded on the personal stuff you share.
Sure.
Right? But you become an extrovert when it comes to the business.
For sure. I love that. Okay. So I know if I didn't already know you and understand how everything works, I'd be asking myself, okay, but how does this help your business? Like, all the content, for what reason? Right.
Right. I can tell you this in a word: content drives transactions. And it doesn't drive transactions in the typical sense of put an ad up with a conversion goal and sales come in. Awareness to a point where you become the go-to. Shana, and I know I've talked to you about this before, but I want to share this because I think the audience will get so much value out of this. And so everybody watching this, just play along with me and just shout at your screen, even though I can't hear you. Okay. If you had a cut on your finger, what would you put on your finger to protect it? Shana, go.
Band-Aid.
Okay. If you had a bad case of hemorrhoids, what would you buy at the pharmacy for the hemorrhoids? Name the product.
Preparation H.
Thank you. If you had a cold and had to blow your nose, what would you use?
My shirt. Kleenex.
Ew. Right. But here's the thing. A Band-Aid is a brand. Preparation H is a brand. Kleenex is a brand. It's a bandage. It's a hemorrhoid ointment or cream. And it's a tissue.
Yeah.
And so they have become the go-to in their industries. And so the content you put out there, no matter what your business is, allows you to become the authority of your industry. Even if that industry is pizza making, funeral homes, it doesn't matter. And people want to have the experience of knowing what it's like in your business, because there are other people who are in different businesses, but are at similar places in life, in their business cycle. And that stuff really helps them. And that's how your business grows. I will tell you, so much of the content that I put out there, that we put out there as a business, as a brand, drive sales. We can see direct conversions, right? Because if you're tracking in social media and you're using pixels, like as smart marketers, you guys should all be doing that. And those of you who don't know, you better hit me up because I got to have a conversation with you. You should be able to track that. And we can track positive revenue to content that has no ask attached to it. And that comes from building authority and trust.
Oh, I love that. That example, like you went out on a limb to see if I was even going to say those things, just knowing that that was going to happen. Brand authority is a big deal.
Please.
My shirt threw you off, but we all knew I was going to land on Kleenex. So there you go. Okay, cool. So let's circling back to document, not create.
Yeah.
What does your process look like? Like tactical step A, step B, step C.
Okay. I will tell you that 90% of the time there are cameras running at every conversation and every meeting that we have that's not private. You've got to do that. In fact, we were just talking about some new cameras to mount where we've fit, our lease is almost done in our version 1 office space, and now we're looking for a new space, and which will take occupancy of next year. Yeah. And so we're like, okay, what camera systems do we want to put in that are ready for us at all times in strategic places? So everything can get captured, because it's really hard when you have to go back and recreate a moment.
Oh, yeah.
And recreating sucks, because that is creating, right? Think about the time you spend to create something. It's scripting it. And then it's like, oh, that feels weird and doesn't sound right, because it's not real. It's not genuine. It's forced. And so if you're recording everything, right, just like we're having this conversation and it's being recorded, it's real. It's there. If you screw up, okay, you screw up. It's part of who we are as humans. And then from that moment, all of that recorded footage gets handed off to, I have an internal editor who chops it all down, right, and gets it shortened up. And then it goes into the repurpose house machine. And then you guys then put all of the micro content, you bring that to life. And then that micro content comes back into my ecosystem. It gets scheduled out, and we are putting out my goal. I have a goal of 10 pieces of content per platform per day.
Wow.
And if you look at my Agora Pulse, that's a tool that I use for scheduling. That thing is pretty damn full. And like, people look at that and they're like, whoa, that's overwhelming. But it's not overwhelming, because when you're putting out content at scale, you have to realize that people don't see everything you put out there. Someone asked me a few days ago in a comment, Ken, I see you recycling or repurposing some of your content every now and again. Why do you do that? And now it happened to be that this person had one of those super fan badges. And so they see everything.
Yeah.
But you have to recognize that the majority of the people that are surfing Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, name the platform, are not seeing everything. They are seeing like a fraction of the stuff that you put out there. So the way to get the algorithm to serve more content is to feed more content into the system, content that gets amplified, because the platform sees people going, oh, I like this. Oh, I share this, right? We had a new piece of content that actually, it wasn't content. It was an ad that went out yesterday. And I should have had this morning when I walked in, I wish I had thought to just turn cameras on. I just didn't. I made a mistake in Facebook, and I accidentally spent like $1,000 in 12 hours because I had set something wrong. But that ad quickly got to 100,000 views, has hundreds and hundreds of reactions, has, dozens of shares, right? Those signals, even though those were paid, those signals in the organic space is what tells the platform to serve more of this content to your audience. Right. And so when you put that out at scale, what happens is miraculous. You can put out a piece of content, and I do this regularly. I did something the other day, I put it out there, and within hours, it had thousands of people on that content. And I'm not paying for that. It's the organic reach gets amplified the more you put out there. So don't hesitate. Don't be afraid to put it out there at scale.
Yeah, absolutely. And the recycling.
Can I take a breath now?
Yes. Okay, here, I'll ramble for a few seconds while you take a breather.
Okay, I'm good now.
Good. Okay, that was quick.
Love you. Thank you for that.
Oh my gosh, I love that. It's funny because I've heard, it's one of the things that I say on repeat is that people like with old podcast episodes, like them repurposing even the full length episode that never really hit social. They're like, everybody already saw that piece of content or everybody already listened to that. I'm like, everybody, right?
Right.
Maybe all of your super fans, and how many of those do you have? But like the majority of your audience may have not even know that that was a thing that you did in the past.
Right. Across all platforms, I have collectively about 1 million plus or minus followers, right? Yeah. Across all social. That's brand, my brand, right? Facebook, Insta, TikTok, LinkedIn, think of all the platforms, all the stuff. But of those platforms, I may have 10 super fans on one, 5 on the other, none on one. TikTok, I suck at. But I have listen, it is what it is. I have my good friend, Rachel Peterson, who holds my hand and tells me it'll be okay. Yeah. But it's not because I don't know the platform or don't want to, many of us, myself included, sometimes, especially entrepreneurs, we like to spread ourselves a little thin. And, Gary talks about this, and I've had a very thoughtful conversation with him about this. There's a difference between going wide and going deep.
Right.
And so if you look at all of my social profiles, you would see that I go deep on Facebook. I go deep on Instagram. But I'm going wide on LinkedIn, and I'm going wide on Twitter, and I'm going wide on TikTok. And what happens is that I'm a little diluted in those spaces because they're not my core passions, but you need to be there. Right. So if you're starting out on social, and I get it because I'm the one who posts my content. There is no one on my team that posts my content. Me, I do it. And so when you see that stuff out there, you've got to know my finger is the one that clicked it to send it into the ecosystem. I get that it's hard, but you don't have to publish on every platform to start. I would recommend, don't make mistakes. Go deep first, get your foundation, get your footing, and then start to go wide.
Absolutely. And then at least you've had a chance to know the content that's working whenever you are going deep, because you've done enough on those platforms to really see how people are responding. And that's what you go test on the other ones. That's how I would do it, at least.
100%.
So let's talk about the elephant in the room. How you said TikTok you're on, and you're not super awesome at it, but I get asked about it constantly. I'm like,
okay.
I mean,
I love being on TikTok because it embarrasses the crap out of my teenage daughters. And
you have ulterior motives, though, so that's different.
I do, and I don't. And my daughter, Sydney, my oldest daughter, she's 15 this week. She is so she is beside herself that someone with a blue check mark follows me, and she's like, that girl has a blue check mark. And I'm like, I know lots of blue check mark people. But it's, to them, that's a status symbol. To me, it's just it's the people I know. But the reality is I suck at it. But here's the thing. You don't need to be an expert in TikTok, and you don't need to do silly dances. I am not a cheerleader. I am not a dancer. That is not the way I use the platform. Is I share the micro content that fits within their time frame, right? Mm-hmm. And I do it in that 9:16, which is that, the tall format that fits a phone.
Yeah.
And it's really quite easy for me, because what I do is I look at the content that hits on the other platforms, and those are the pieces I drop in. Where I suck is I've not gotten consistent yet. And that's part of it, is because I've become so comfortable using Agorapulse as a tool, and Agorapulse still does not talk to TikTok, and the APIs don't communicate. So it physically requires extra effort, where I have to download the thing to my phone, then I've got to upload the thing to TikTok. Doing it this way is old school, super cool, but I'd rather sit there in front of the dashboard like the king of the world
Right.
and roll with my content.
Oh, yeah, I feel that. And that's why we get asked a lot if we manage TikTok at all. I'm like, no, because there's no way to schedule any of that yet.
Right.
I know, like,
and I'm gonna pull up my Agora Pulse now because I may do a quick share with you.
show it. Yeah. Heck yeah.
I will. Just keep going.
Yeah. So the platform that we use is saying that they're going to release TikTok as a platform they can manage by the end of the year. But it'll likely be the push notification like Instagram stories is generally.
Right.
So I'm like, well, that doesn't really help me. So, but it's better than, having to sit there and type the whole thing.
Yeah. So I'm gonna do a screen share with you.
Yeah,
May I?
go ahead, do it, please.
Okay. I'm gonna share the screen. This is gonna be
An inside look.
An inside look. This is my September content calendar. So there, I mean, you can see it's heavy.
Entire day 19, 22, 19, 26.
Yeah. Let's jump to October. October is getting scheduled out now.
This
There's
is
October.
bonkers.
Let's see how November's looking. Now it's getting thinner because I'm further out.
Right.
December. I mean, there's some heavy content. January. Like I've got stuff now. And here's the thing, Shayna, I repurpose stuff on purpose. And again, just remember, if you think that everyone has seen your stuff the first time, they didn't. If you think that, oh, I've posted this 3 times, you haven't even scratched the surface of whose eyeballs are on it, except for your super fans. Right. This guy sees everything.
He's a super fan.
Super fan. But the reality is not a soul is really seeing your stuff. It takes so much, so many hits of that content being out there. Remember, you're served literally 5,000, I think, ads a day or ad messages a day. How on earth are you going to see a piece of content that I share from a meeting with a client on strategy?
Yeah, right. It's absolutely true. So if anybody's taking anything away, it's don't be afraid to recycle your content on the platforms over and over again. And also scheduling out that far in advance. Like some people just get a week ahead of it, and that you're doing yourself a disservice to not consistently be. You saw he was into October and it was still super stacked. So imagine what November, December, and all those look like. So that's usually helpful.
And another thing, and I will say this, and this is, and this is going to be my 10-second negative. I'm going to crap on a platform for a moment.
Here we go.
I'm so angry at LinkedIn right now.
Oh, okay. Why? What
if
happened?
You're using a third-party app, the API doesn't allow your LinkedIn profile to upload videos.
I know, it's stupid.
It is the dumbest thing ever.
Dumbest. You and I have gone over and over.
Yep. And LinkedIn's like, well, just create a brand page for yourself. I have 20, 30, 40,000. I don't know how many followers I have on LinkedIn, but now you have to migrate those people to this new thing, and that doesn't happen. So if LinkedIn gods, if you're watching this, and I know you are, because I'm going to tweet this and I'm going to tag you and I'm going to LinkedIn you, fix that API so that we can use video through a third-party app.
Yeah.
And because, man, that is why my LinkedIn game is suffering right now.
It's a bummer. And we've talked about trying to hack this thing with like YouTube videos and the ratios and all stuff. And there's really no way to do it, that you have to upload it natively. And it's a huge bummer.
I'm becoming a hater.
It's okay. If enough people, everybody contact LinkedIn.
I'm going to take his mask off and sick him on them, because once a zombie is loose, man, it's run for the hills.
There you go. Good. Awesome. All right. So what have we not talked about that you think is super important for people to know about content strategy?
One of the things that I think is so vital is not getting in your head about, oh, should I post this? Or when's the good time to post this? Or should I schedule this? Or, oh, maybe I should schedule it at night. Or listen, Linda. If you don't know what that is, just Google search Linda Listen and you'll know. Okay, so if you have no idea what that reference is, oh, I should be wearing my Riho hat. Hold on, I just realized I'm doing you a terrible disservice.
That's right, you got a hat. Uh-oh.
Hold on.
We all
There
got
we go.
There. Oh yeah.
There we go.
The dark one. I love it.
Yeah. Although it shades my eyes, although it does take the shine off my head.
Yeah, this is bad hair day, Shayna.
Yeah,
Which on 90%
I always
of
have
my
a bad hair
videos-
day, Shayna. Come on. So don't get in your head about when to schedule your content, and here's why. So I want you to take yourselves out of the marketer role for a second and put yourself in the passenger seat of being a content consumer. I don't know about you, but on those nights where I wake up at 2 a.m. for no reason and I can't fall back asleep, I pick up my phone and I just kind of thumb through and I'm like, oh, look at this. I have a piece of content. I'm going to save that for later. I like that. I want to remember that tomorrow. Or, you know, you're busy in the middle of the day, you take a break, you mentally check out and you start surfing, pick the platform. You're doing the exact thing that the people that you want to see your content are doing. Just because the algorithm says the best time of day for your stuff is to post at that time does not mean you should post everything at that time. Just post it. Just randomize it. It doesn't matter, because human beings use platforms the way they use platforms, and today is different than yesterday. The month of August was a blur for me. I was on the couch most of the month in the fetal position because I had 3 oral surgeries and an infection, and actually it was 2 infections. Like the month of August was a blur. My social media consumption changed dramatically.
For sure.
And you have to realize that people have things going on in their lives, whether they're business owners, I am, or people who work in companies. Not every day is the same. And so their consumption of content changes. And the work from home model of the world right now has really changed consumption and the times that people do things. So forget about the algorithms. Just push the stuff out there. Create a schedule. If a schedule doesn't work, randomize it, whatever it is, but get the content out there, because the content does you no good when it's sitting in your computer. When it's sitting on your phone, it does no good, because no one's going to see it except the person you go, hey, did you see this cool thing I made? Great. What are you going to do with that? Get it out there. People need to see what's going on in your business.
Oh, I love that. That it's such an easy thing to implement, and most people, I'm sure, are in their own heads. So that's awesome. Cool.
Yeah, they get stuck.
They get stuck. Yeah, get unstuck, guys. All right, Ken, this has been crazy amazing. Per usual, I love chatting with you. We got to do this more often for sure.
Absolutely.
How do people get to check out all of this crazy amount of content? Literally go anywhere and Ken's there, apparently. So what's the best way? What's the best way to find you?
So if you want to follow the Ad Zombies brand, pick the social channel at Ad Zombies, ADZOMBIES. Or if you want to follow me, at Spanky, SPANKY, Moskowitz, MOSKOWITZ, and that's across every social channel. By the way, that's another thing for you. If you don't have brand consistency across your social channels, fix it. And you need to fix it because you want it to be easy for people to find you. You don't want to be something underscore something on this platform and then something different on that platform. Consistency makes it easy, because then people have to remember one thing: at Spanky Moskowitz, at your name here.
I love it. And I did you a massive disservice. I legit introduced you as Ken.
That's okay.
That's my own fault on the brand consistency for you, man.
Whatever. I'm okay.
Well, thank you,
I'll
Spanky,
You're welcome.
for being with us. You guys, thanks for watching and listening. If you got anything out of this, which I'm sure you got tons of awesome, I got so much out of it. Share with other people who you think would also get awesome value out of it. Like it. Come check out our episodes next week. And thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Bye, guys. All right. Thank you. This was amazing. It was so good. Chatting with you is always gold, which is why I love that you have cameras running in your office all day. So
thank you. You know, the things that I didn't get to are like, and these are so, like, we could do another one of these.
We should do another one.
We can record it and then, you know, you can just save it for 5 months down the road. You know, stuff that I picked up from Russell Brunson. And so my value mission statement for the business, my version of the JK5, my SM5, those things, right? That every company, everybody that you're putting out content, you should have pillars. What are those pillars? So like that's why I said I've got stuff here. Like I have them framed. These are this is my SM5. These are the 5 pillar content pieces that I talk about. If it's not, if it doesn't fit into this, it doesn't go out. And so those things, I think that's another thing that people, they have to like just wrap your head around. What are the pillars of content that you're going to put out there? So that's a whole nother episode.
We should, I mean, I'm down to do another one for sure. So let's get that on the books. Definitely.
For shizzle my nizzle.
Awesome. Well, it was so great chatting with you. Thanks so much for making the time.
No problem.
Glad you're all healed up. And
me too.
I'll bet.
Me
all right,
too.
dude. Well,
all right,
I'll
Shayna.
chat with you soon. Thank you.
You got it. Take care.
All right. Bye.
Bye.